you all. Let me send a text on that right now. How many we got? 3, 6. We need 9. Bear with me a second. Could you have someone bring like 9 or 10 bottles of the bottled water out here to the back dock? Okay, thank you. Okay, water. Start a few minutes early if it's okay with everybody else.
Is everybody ready?
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here again this afternoon. Numbers are still strong. We're currently at 16.4% voter turnout. At 3:56 p.m., we were at 62,126 voters who have cast their ballots today. Our busiest poll site is still Brook Hollow, and our slowest one is Martin Luther King Jr. Academy of Arts. So other than that, I know that there are some questions that you might have. I'm happy to answer.
Any problems and issues?
The only issue that we've had today is our, of course, voters bringing cell phones into the questions about our web. Our transition over to the Secretary of State's team system, everything is tied to that. And unfortunately, there's some of the modules that are not finished. So any voter that has questions about whether it be where they're going to vote or a location near them, we encourage them to call our office at 210-335-8683. We have people on standby right now to be able to answer those questions.
You said 16.4% turnout so far,
yes,
indicating another strong showing at this update. What are you guys hoping to hit? What would be the goal for you guys?
Well, when early voting first started, my answer was I would have liked to see 15 to 18%. I think we're going to be closer to 20.
How does that make you feel?
I'm really excited about it. I mean, to know that the voters are not only aware of what's on the ballot, but are excited to cast their ballots.
What do you think about the fact that we're seeing a better turnout for this than for the mayor race?
I mean, whenever the mayor election happened, the city of San Antonio election happened in May, I don't believe that there was a lot of knowledge in the community about the upcoming election. That's just my personal opinion. So since I came on, we've really been boosting up we are sharing a ton of information, and of course, knowledge is power when it comes to elections. So I'd like to think that our social media presence and getting the word out has been super helpful.
And then do you think that the Fiesta week was going to be a factor, and maybe that's why, it happened what happened?
Well, that could be one of many reasons, honestly. Of course, Fiesta did happen, and then, of course, on Election Day, it was one of the biggest days of Fiesta. And being that it was my first election here in Bexar County, that wasn't something that I expected to happen, but we've learned from it, and it could have played a part. Honestly,
what do you guys
I don't know.
Expecting for the end, at the end of the day?
End of the day, our initial guess was 50 to 75, closer to 75,000. Sure. The number, as of 3:56 this evening, the number of voters who've cast a ballot is 62,126.
That's including early voting?
No, that's just election day. Yes. Yes.
Have there been any unusual incidents or more unusual than regular voting day incidents?
I don't believe so. I feel that today has been a very normal election day. Of course, there's a lot of interest in casting their ballot. So we've seen a lot of traffic on our website, and our phones are ringing off the hook. So if I was to compare this to either May or June election, the phone calls that we're receiving, the interest that we're seeing from our voters is at the top of our list.
What are the wait times, and are there enough polling judges?
We have every one of our election sites is completely staffed. So I haven't really heard any type of wait time. During early voting, we had voters who were posting on social media how long it took them to get in and out. There are lines at every one of the locations, and those that are the busiest, where we've sent out additional voting machines to help speed up the time. I haven't had any type of phone call about that. I know that there have been some instances where voters have appeared wearing clothing that may be misconstrued as electioneering, but I don't believe anyone's been turned away.
Just to clear up.
Sure.
A cowboy hat. Yes? No?
Cowboy hats are okay,
As long as it doesn't
as long as it doesn't have a logo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There was some, maybe if not doubts, but there was some guessing about the transition from the older system into the state system. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I can tell you that the entire backlog was taken care of prior to early voting started. So anyone that registered to vote by October the 6th, they're in the system. So everyone that registered, the entire backlog, which was exceeding more than 70,000 applications, we were able to process the Tuesday before early voting started. So it was huge for us. We had so many volunteers. Of course, there were paid volunteers that came in to assist us. They had to undergo background checks and meet certain criteria. But they were lined up, willing to help us. We couldn't have done it without them. Yes, sir.
Are you expecting to release the early voting at 7 o'clock?
Our goal is to release shortly after 7 o'clock this evening. And the only thing that would prevent that is if we have voters in line who have not yet been issued a ballot. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that. We're able to communicate with our We'll send a message out for them to let us know, but as soon as we are aware that every voter has already been issued a ballot, then we'll be able to release those numbers.
So, last question. For me.
Okay?
So, do you think the numbers, the absentee and the actual people voting today, almost the same thing, or not really?
Voters per hour. So at that rate, and depending if on people are getting in line after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock when they get off of work, those numbers could even go up higher. But one of the things I do want voters to know is as long as they're in line by 7 p.m., they will be allowed to cast their ballot. Any other questions? Anything else I can answer for you all?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me get you that water. It's too hot out here. Oh, here it is. The water's here.
We just wrapped up the 4 p.m. update from the election administrator to run off some numbers for you. So as of 6 p.m., we're still showing a strong voter turnout with 16.4% so far. That comes out to about 62,126 election day voters. Right now, the slowest polling location is the MLK Academy of Arts. The busiest one remains Brooks Hollow. They're hoping to get closer to 20% voter turnout. Originally, they were aiming for 15 to 18%. Obviously, the strong number so far. They're hoping for a little bit more than that. The only issues they've seen so far is people bringing in cell phones into the polling locations. Again, a reminder that if you get to a polling location before 7 o'clock, you are allowed to vote as long as you are in line by 7 o'clock. Another reminder, do not be wearing any spurs here or any Samsung stock showing rodeo gear because of Props A and Props B. You may be turned away if you have anything that looks like it could be an election year. We'll have a lot more information coming up in news o'clock. Yeah.